Alrighty, everybody. So, invaderzim enter the florpus has finally come, and I have to say, guys, I still do prefer static lang over enter the florpus, but I do have to say, guys, invaderzim enter the florpus is truly how Jonathan probably always intended invaderzim to be shown, and now thanks to Netflix having no, or at least far less censorship issues than Nickelodeon always did, this feels like it's the true invaderzim. So basically, guys, it's we basically start off with Dib basically saying that 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 he used to always like to look up at space until Zim and the Erdogan Empire came along, and that how he's been, and that how he's the only thing that stands between Earth and an alien invasion, and nobody believes him. But one day, Zim just vanished, and we see Dib basically basically, after not coming out of his room for so many years, watching and waiting for Zim to return, he's basically become this fat freak who's butt, and yes, guys, there is a lot of butt jokes in Enter the Florpus, so just a little disclaimer there. But anyway, Dib's butt has literally been fused to the chair that he's been sitting in. So much so that Gaz has literally had to wear a biohazard suit to try and get Dib to even come down to the kitchen and eat breakfast with her and Dr. Membrane. And I do have to say one other thing, guys. There is way too much of Gaz and Gur in this movie. But Dib, Zim, and Dr. Membrane and one of Zim's other inventions, a replacement for Dr. Membrane, that makes playing all that is good. But basically, guys, Dib finally sees them and almost immediately gets back into shape after being shot to finally seize them, and Zim says, Dib, it's too late. You'll never be able to stop me. I knew if I went into hiding long enough, I could finally drive you insane and prepare for phase 2 of my plan to ultimately conquer Earth. But the catch is, guys, Zim actually doesn't remember what the original phase 2 of his plan was, and Zim, being the overconfident invader that he is, never bothered to write it down or have his computer keep any records. And Gurr, throughout most of the movie, wants to become this giant pizza, and Zim says that that's never gonna happen, and I must have been sitting in that toilet too long, laughing maniacally. And basically, guys, um, basically, guys, what happens is Zim finally figures out that my tallest, the leaders of the Erdogan Empire, didn't actually send them to Earth on a top secret mission like he thought. He finally figures out that in fact that they sent him to Earth because he was so terrible. And basically, guys, Zim comes up with the idea to use Dr. Membrane's newest invention, the male bracelet, which is basically just supposed to run apps and help children promote peace. Zim actually takes control of that and sends Dr. Membrane to the moon prison that was featured in I think at least more than one episode of invaderzim, the TV show. So anyway, guys, again, in Dr. Membrane's place, Zim makes kind of this like reject Dr. Membrane clone that all he is obsessed with is making pudding. And Zim's plan to basically control all the children of the world to finally conquer Earth and finally earn my tallest respect actually works. However, it's ironic that it's through the help of Dib, because once Zim initially realizes that he's basically been the joke of his own people for all this time, he basically falls into this, I guess you could call it fuck it depression, and he almost can, and he willingly gives himself over to Dib until Dib tells him about the bracelet that Dr. Membrane's unveiling for World Peace Day. And I gotta say, guys, it took 19 years, but invaderzim's plan to conquer Earth actually succeeded, although the enter the florpus part is actually this big black hole that Zim created by accident, that is ultimately going to send Earth colliding with other planets, thus warping reality. And basically, how ironic that Dr. Membrane it is actually the one that ultimately saves the world, even though he is still convinced that this is all one bad illusion, because let's not forget, Dr. Membrane is a man of science, and it's also with the help of Zim's old spaceship that Dib sort of kept in his garage all this time, basically not liking Zim, that Gaz and Dib are even able to go to the moon prison to rescue Dr. Membrane. But yes, guys, the florpus is actually this big black hole. And again, the florpus actually does end up sucking my tallest into the vortex. So the ironic ending of the movie is not only did Zim never have the respect of 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 his race, but now he has to stay on the planet that he hates so much. And but truly, guys, it's kind of like almost ironic that Dib and Zim, all they really want throughout this movie is basically the acknowledgement and respect that they're right. Zim spends the entirety of the movie trying his best to remember what the actual phase 2 is, and when he comes up with the bracelet, the reason he creates so much chaos and actually tells his in-house computer to drain the rest of the city's power supply is to hack the Erdogan ship that has my tallest on board, so that they will have to collide with Earth and finally see Zim's plan succeed. And all Dib really wants it is to have Dr. Membrane say that he's proud of Dib as a son, and right before Dr. Membrane figures out Zim's moves, which is actually the key to activating and deactivating the florpus black hole. Sorry, guys. Dr. Membrane actually gets blown away, and Dib says, "I'll prove everything to you, Dad, even though you think this still isn't real. I'll make you proud of me." And then Dr. Membrane says, in a very touching and kind of sweet way, "But son, I am proud of you." And yes, guys, that basically is the end of Enter the Florpus. So even though Zim's masters, my tallest, end up getting sucked into the florpus due to Zim's own dumb mistake, and by my tallest arrogance and never wanting to fly anywhere but straight. Zim's plan to finally conquer Earth actually finally succeeded, and Dib actually finally got the respect of Dr. Membrane. So yes, guys, I, I still do prefer Rocco's Modern Life Static Wing, but invaderzim Enter the Florpus is still a very satisfying and again, as I said at the top of the video, a much better version of how invaderzim was originally envisioned by Jonathan, the creator.